Freaking GoPro, the GoPro 7 is really annoying me lately. It just randomly hangs and then randomly starts again, randomly hangs. Guess it's time to look to see if there's a new firmware update or something. So again, I wanted to apologize for giving false excitement, thinking that we could test enhanced summon that way, and we could not. We're back in the garage. We are charging. I have set my charge rate, or I'm sorry, my charge current, I have not changed it. It's set to 32 amps. It's been recharging quite quick. I've only been recharging to 82%, which seems to be you know, plenty for my roughly 50-mile commute a day, and then I can recharge that amount in probably a couple hours once I get home. So that's kind of nice. And I just wanted to quickly go through the settings that I have been messing with in a real quick fashion here, just to outline what stuff does, as far as I can tell. On the quick controls, this just lets you change some normal settings like your lighting, front fog lights. You can adjust your mirrors, your steering wheel. You can manually fold them if you wanted to. You can lock your windows that way and set your display brightness. I haven't changed any of these things other than adjusting the mirrors and steering wheel when I first got in the car. I just let the display brightness to auto. Under lights, again, I haven't touched anything here. Headlights are set to auto. The dome lights are set to off for some reason. I'm not sure why. I'm going to set them to auto. Auto high beam was on by default. I left it on. Headlights after exit, that just means that you, okay, clear the mind. Anyways, auto high beam is left on by default. Headlights after exit, that is the setting. My Tacoma does that. When you first turn it off, that the lights stay on for a period of time. I'm not quite sure why you would want that, but that is turned off. Steering wheel lights, I have that turned on. It just lights up a couple, these little arrows basically is the only thing it lights up. Under locks, this is the all of the different locks that are associated with the car. Cindy's iPhone, my iPhone, and the 2 key cards. You can do windows and child locks there. Under the display mode, again, by default, it's set to auto. You can choose day or night, which will adjust the brightness of your controls respectively. Screen clean mode, I've never used it. What does that do? Okay. So that, I guess that disables everything on the screen so you don't inadvertently set something. And when you're done, you just press and hold this to exit, and that gets you out. Okay, that's a good idea. Time format, 12 or 24 hours. Again, these are all defaults already set for me. Energy display, distance, temperature, tire pressure. Driving, I have this. You have 2 options: standard and chill. I assume chill is probably less aggressive acceleration. I like standard. Steering mode, comfort, standard, and sport. I've only used comfort so far. I have to mess with those other settings. Regenerative braking, default is standard, and I've left it on that setting. I guess low would minimize that lurch that I talked about. If you just pull your foot off the pedal, it would be a more gradual regen, but I like the standard regen. Creep, what that does is if you take your foot off the brake, it starts to creep forward like a gas automobile will. By default, that is turned off, and I have left that off. Slip start is used if you're stuck in the snow, sand, or mud. Well, I probably won't have that situation down here very much. Now, under autopilot, you can set the default cruise distance. I have it set to 3. Auto steer was turned off by default, and navigate on autopilot was turned off by default. I turned those both on. If you customize your navigate on autopilot, you can change your speed-based lane changes between, I guess, disable them, mild, average, or mad max. I'm kind of scared to see what that actually does. The summon beta, this is why I thought I had enhanced summon, but you know what, that's interesting. I swear when I saw this the other day that the screen was different than what I'm seeing here. It wasn't just the straight forward and backwards. I don't know. I'm confused. I'll be doing some more research about that. But that is the summoning that that's off by default. Turned it on. Speed limit warning. You can have it off totally. You can have it come up on the display, and you can also have it sound a chime if you're speeding. Let's see. Speed limit, relative or absolute. Okay. Forward collision warning. Off, late, medium, or early. It was defaulted to medium. I've left it on medium. Lane departure warning, like if you're drifting over a white lane, you can have it let you know about that. I have that turned off. It was already turned off. Blind spot collision warning chime. These were all already on. I've left them on. Automatic emergency braking. Even if you're not in autopilot, it will brake for you if it senses an impending collision. That's a good thing. Obstacle aware acceleration. That sounds like a good thing. Obstacle aware acceleration automatically limits your acceleration if an obstacle is detected. Okay, well, That sounds like a good thing. We'll leave that on. Under navigation, trip planner, online routing, turned on. You can change the sound of, or the volume of the sound that you, or the voice, and you can avoid ferries, tolls, and you can use HOV lanes. Those were all off by default. I've left them off. Now under safety and security, this is where I thought I would have the option to do Sentry mode. The way I understand it is you go into park, and then you're supposed to have an option to go into Sentry mode, and I don't have that option. Park assist chimes are in there. That's by default. Security alarm and pin to drive, those are both turned off. If you have a valet mode, you can, or like if you had like your kid was driving, you can limit the speed of the vehicle, which is nice. Cabin overheat protection, that's by default, that's turned on. I guess if it gets too hot in here, you can have the AC just kick on to cool it down. Allow mobile access, I have that turned on. And under service, you can adjust the headlights, towing, factory reset, and you can see your owner's manual there, and the glove box, it can be opened right there. So that covers the settings, and I might just put that in its own video because you're probably bored as shit right now. Arrow here, this shows like just random things where you can like see your calendar. You can sync your calendar to the car. Under charging, you can I don't think I can't do that while I'm charging, but you can see the predicted mileage based on the electricity usage while you're driving, but you can't do that when you're parked and charging. You can bring up the microphone to give the car a command, and you can mess with the wipers here. If you do just swipe right and swipe left, this will show you your tire pressure when the car is running. It's not running. If you swipe left, you get information about since your last charge, since 4 p.m. Again, I don't know how useful that is. You can also open the frunk, the trunk, and close your charge port from this screen as well. Next over is seats. You can do the heated seats. So that's one other difference with the standard range plus, as opposed to the longer range model. It has heated front and drivers and passenger seats. It does not have heated rear seats. I guess the extended range model actually has heated rear seats as well, which is something I've never heard of. So that is another difference with standard range plus versus the other ones. Your AC controls, this is one of the cooler things. Oh, and this also has the dog mode. You can keep climate on, you can have it on off. Like you can keep the climate control on all the time so your car stays a certain temperature inside. But it can be off, on, or dog mode, which not only keeps the temperature at whatever setting you want, but also puts a display on the screen. Once you leave the car, it basically says, hey, the car's running, this is the temperature, don't break my windows, more or less. So it could be handy. But this is one of the cool things, people that have never seen this before. The way you adjust the vents on this is bizarre and cool. This is actually, again, hopefully, I don't know how well this will come up in the GoPro. This is a graphical representation of the airflow coming out of the front vents. There's one solid vent that goes across the entire dash, and then there is a perpendicular vent of air as well. So basically, it controls how the air goes by adjusting the flow between those two opposing vents. Like right now, that's doing full force right at the passenger. You can have it go up. You can have it go left. It split the flow right there. You can use 2 fingers and pinch it. It basically goes whatever direction you want. It's kind of crazy, and that's really a oh wow feature for people that have never seen it before. And recirculated air is on. Okay, awesome. Let's set the fan to auto. How do we do that? Auto. It's cool. A lot of the screens you can either hit, there's usually an X in one of the corners, so you can just usually grab it and swipe it down and it goes away. And the only other controls really on here is the front defroster and rear defroster. Pretty self-explanatory. You can also change the volume here on the touch screen, but it's a lot more convenient to use the screen or the steering wheel controls. You can just scroll the left scroll wheel up and down for music volume. One other thing that I was a little bamboozled about when I first got in the car was like, how do you get out? There's not a conventional door latch to get out. The answer to that is right here. This is the button to open the door. And there is actually a small hidden latch right under here, like an emergency door exit that you can use. The reason you don't want to use it normally, though, is it does not drop the window. When you use this, it actually drops the window a little bit, so it doesn't damage the molding. because if you use this manual one, it just kind of opens up and it can actually damage the molding. So whenever possible, you want to use this button to open your door. Alright, so hopefully you found the video helpful in some way at least. I'm really enjoying the Tesla experience so far, minus the tilted steering wheel. And like I said in the original video, I've been learning a lot. And one thing I did learn from the original video is people don't like certain music that I use in the background of some of my videos. I got multiple complaints about people not liking the music. Too loud, some people say. I mean, it's a personal choice. Some people like music, some people don't. So I'm going to try to see if I can find more of a happy medium, maybe not use music as much through an entire 25-minute video. I just pick my spots, but yeah, I've heard that complaint before, so I am listening. So if you found this video interesting, please give it a big thumbs up. If this is your first time visiting the channel, please consider subscribing, wherever side that subscribe button is. And might as well hit the bell if you're looking for more Tesla content, or just to be notified whenever a new video is posted. Because there will be tons and tons of Tesla content to come, for sure. Feel free to leave your comments, suggestions, ideas, and thoughts below. And that's all I have for you for now. Until next time, bye for now.